Hey, can you give me the charger? Alan, what's up, brother? Sorry, I'm just trying to charge my laptop. 1 second, let me just see if there's something under the table. Maybe there is a plug. I think there's a plug down here, isn't there? Let's see. Jason, how are you doing, brother? How's it going? How are you guys doing? Mario, how are you doing, brother? Yes. Got the coffee. I went to sleep. I stayed up all night yesterday for the pre-market. And when I stayed up until the market opened, and then I was able to see at that point that we were going to be fed a nothing burger. You know, after that, I was like, okay, let's go take a nap and wake up when it's crunch time. See if these algos finish. Because if we close today at this case, like this, we got some good things to talk about. How's everybody doing in here? Just waiting on my laptop to power up. I wanted to pop up before 3 o'clock. I didn't think everybody else was going to join right away. Got the hookah ready, coffee, everything. Wasim, I got a good theory for you guys. One thing is I can tell you guys exactly what happened. Remember a couple days ago, guys, when I shared a photo on the community tab? It's still there. I'm gonna go and show you guys again on this live and show you what they did, like how they did it and how it was there in plain sight. But again, it was remember that post that says this is sus. Look at it again, and I'm gonna show it again in this. Peter, I know that we are all about the Russell 2000 because we're in it in that ETF, and it should be down since we're both down, GME and AMC. And by the way, it is in a way a very, very good thing, and I'm gonna tell you guys how. So, who's forgetting to hit the like button, huh? Which ones? Okay, I'm gonna, while the computer is powering up, let me go ahead and read some of these. All that buying on GME and they still ran the price back down. It's like we're powerless against algos. And it's not just algos, my brother. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna tell you. This day makes no sense. What's good, bro? By the way, to end the week, right? Of course, it's always bad when we're in red, especially for AMC and GameStop, and especially from the bullish news that came out of GameStop yesterday. But then again, when you look at the news, guys, it's a proposal and it still has to be approved for. That's for GameStop's referencing GameStop. And not only does it have to get approved, but it's in June 9th. You see what I'm saying? I do believe now that they're not gonna wait until the last. This is terrible. Can you guys see me again? Are we good? Can somebody confirm, please? Are we good? Okay. All cool. Okay, what did I miss right here? Half the chat left. um, let's see. Okay. Let me see. Where did I miss right here? Um, at least price is higher than last week. Okay, good point, Alan. I was gonna actually still bring that up. Um, and again, I've switched to my own internet service because Wi-Fi is terrible here. Um, yeah, screw Spectrum. Hold on one second. Now with that internet down, I can't even show you guys what I want to show you. All the things I want to show you. Um, what's up, Tiny? How are you doing? All good. How are you, brother? Radwan. I'm glad you're here, brother. Let's see, Peter. Yeah, it was definitely the signal issues. Okay, crypto selling off, all exchanges red besides the Russell. Yeah, oh yeah, we read that one. And Timothy, if you have good news, share it, please. Excuse me. Yeah, I'm just waiting on the internet to connect back so I can go show you guys the chart and show you some of the things that I want to show you. Um, on one of the pictures I want to show you guys, it showed, remember a couple days ago, I've signaled the massive amount of calls that were in the money, and there was on the opposite end, there was almost a similar amount of puts that were out of the money. So clearly there was, someone who was betting high, like highly on the plays, especially AMC, to go high on the calls, and then somebody was really bearish as well on AMC to go down because both amounts were fairly almost equivalent. And if you had to choose or to guess which one was the institutions, then you would have guessed correctly that it's obviously the puts were the institutions side because it's not in their best interest to let this thing go up. So they're not going to put massive amounts of calls. So big win for them, but mainly for the market maker guys. The little guys, the little D's and all this stuff, these guys are, still business as usual. These guys are still hurting. They still need money. I think Alan here also said one thing, and he's correct about it. Was it Alan? Just want to give the proper credit. Yeah, it was Alan. The price is higher than last week, so we're moving up. Remember last week when we were talking about that? I said something about they don't like it rough. They want it to be, nice and slow movement so they can handle it. Um, Now that doesn't mean that this is okay or this is all right. Of course, what's happened today, yesterday, since Wednesday, has been completely unacceptable. Even my camera said this is not acceptable. Um, we're gonna see within 30 days who, at least on Tuesday, who dropped those major shares that they needed for GameStop and AMC, just so that they can go ahead and get it back within the algos, um, you know, area or bracket. The thing is, even those algos, guys, they still need, with the algos, they still need shares to do what they gotta do. So when people are talking about algos, that's it, and it goes on cruise control. Well, it needs shares to do whatever it's got to do, whether on the upside or the downside. Now, personally, I've seen all the kind of crazy stuff this morning. This is why specifically today I stayed throughout all the pre-market until the market opened because I was even now you could go and see um, all the good orders and the like you can see all the big level 2 data buy-in, and it is unjustified like numerically is unjustified how this basically happened. I mean, again, you're getting as usual more incoming you know orders than the outgoing, so basically more buying than selling, almost double, and you still see this down red movement on the plays. And the crazy part is not even with just AMC, because AMC came out right out the bat straight going to the red, but GameStop continued to go up, and then they just like ravaged it. I think they wanted to get more people to jump in the option chain even more on GameStop's side, and they did what they did. Now, the only reason why you would be pissed off today about this, two reasons. One, it's either that you're day trading and you did some, weekly plays like on options or something. And that's something I personally warned you guys all about. Like, don't, like, my advice is never to do something that's even within on a monthly base if you think about options. Clearly, you saw a very, very, very good indication of how they can screw you out of that. Um, but that's one. Second is because you've been waiting for all this time, and you just want it to be it. I get it. I feel it, guys. I'm with you. I swear. Some of you might have seen the picture I put on the community tab yesterday on the channel, and as I promised you guys, I was gonna show what June looked like. Um, and yeah, I've never sold any single share. I've only added, and that was since June. You're talking about almost yeah, 10 months ago. Um, and I said I would delete it after because I didn't want it to stay on. I just wanted to show, and I think there's like about 5 or 6 people that liked it. So maybe only 5 or 6 people saw it. The point of it is not to show what I got or any of that. The point of it is to show what it was like to play on that moment and that particular day, what it was like the payout was like on just that one given day, paying off. And was it a payoff? Of course it was a major payoff. I've never, and I made it clear, I've never even cared about averaging up or averaging down. I mean, I started out in the upper $7 range back in September of 2020, and even in June when it ran up, what I was doing to up my position, because my mission was to always accumulate more shares. That's all I cared about. I didn't care about the price because I knew that when it squeezes, whatever price I'm buying at is going to look like a joke compared to the turnaround. Um, that's again another reason for me why I feel like I'm helping the movement is one, I always buy on down days, on red days, so that way I feel like, hey, when you need me the most or this movement needs me the most, I'm buying on that day. And more than that, um, I didn't never cared. That's another reason. I never cared about averaging up or averaging down. I was buying like when my cost average was in the upper sevens on that June run up. I was cashing out of options and buying into shares instantly at that time. I bought shares in the 60s. I bought shares in the 50s into the point where in June of last year, my cost average skyrocketed from 7 all the way up to $50 and some change, like 41 cents. Um, Now, am I upset? No, my mission was like I was never gonna have any of those 4-digit amount of shares in AMC at least by June, just with the stimulus money that I started with in 2020. The idea was to always capitalize and keep adding more, and I believe in the cause so much to the point where I put my money where my mouth is, and I don't care about buying it at the 20s or the 15s or the 30s or even the 70s for that matter, because I know that when this thing takes off, it's all gonna come down to how many shares you have and how much are you gonna sell them for. And that's why I never looked at a $30 or $20 or $5 discount on shares. Yeah, you can sit there and nickel and dime these things and look for entry points. It's smart, yes. But with scalping plays and like regular plays, with a squeeze play, it doesn't matter. You just want to have as many as you can before the pop, and that's the way I programmed my mind on this play. So I switch in and out. Yes, even Alan. I know I skipped some comments. I'll go to them, but even Alan just said my average went from 7 to 33, and what is that going to look like? The 33 or the 50 or even the 70? What is that going to look like when you have a four-figure per share in front of you on the screen? Again, I'm not a financial advisor, the guys. Neither do I give financial advice. But look at that gap difference. It's much more like the difference between 50 or 70 compared to like the difference between that and like a number in the thousands that for me, that's what I'll be selling it in, is so much greater of a profit than, oh, I'm sitting here looking at this. If I wouldn't think the way I think, I would have never had that big position in AMC or even GameStop from the get-go. Because, I would be always waiting on the sidelines instead of jumping in and try to accumulate more and then buy more. I don't care. Right now, to me, if I kept the old mindset that I started with in 2018, I would have, and that was normal because I just started back then. But I would have easily probably still been with like 300 or 400 or 500 shares. And I'm not saying that's little. When it comes down to sell, like, with those crazy figures, depending on your numbers and what you want to sell for. Again, I don't tell nobody anything they should do or what they should not do. It's gonna make you, the money that you're most likely life changing. And I put that theory to life. I really brought that theory to life. I don't just say it, I believe it. And that's why I never cared about no averaging up or averaging down. Because the idea for me, the goal, the mission, I just put a soldier's mindset to work. And my goal was to accumulate as much as possible before the big pop. And that was it. And then eventually, as I seen that my position was getting fatter and fatter and fatter in the matter, I looked at, the other plays that I have in my basket to get them as well bigger. So that way all my eggs are not in one basket until to the point where you can never say you're guaranteed, but I get to the point, I just want to feel as comfortable as possible with the idea that I get to a point where even if they screw me on this or this or this, something is gonna, out of all this basket, is gonna pop out. Now, of course, I'm not throwing any guesses here or not, but just to get to that position from starting up with stimulus money, we'll just say I know one or two things about like how this stuff work. So I'm not upset with what's happening today because it's only a buying opportunity and I took advantage of it. Not just because I wanted to average down, but mainly because I know that right now every buy order is much better than all these sell orders that are coming out of thin air. Because even the data is not making any sense. We're looking at the Fed repo and reverse repo for today, and it's a cynical number. It's like a 1666. You got $1,666,000,000,000 done in repo and reverse repo, and only 77 counterparties. For those of you out there who think that the hedge funds or the market maker do not have money and the market is dry, it is true. It is dry on the outside. But the guys or the certain entities that got money, oh, trust me, they got money. Clearly, they didn't need any of this repo, reverse repo, or at least as much of it, to do what they had to do today. Because, we went down from 1.8 to 1.666. Now, let's jump over to another thing. Let me show you guys the theory of you guys gotta remind me to take a puff every now and then. Okay. This is what I want to show you guys. Look. See this? I posted this about 3 days ago. And look what I said. You can see how this is looking sus. But at the same time, you can tell that this is the most important week for the foreseeable future. We crush it. If we crush it, we squeeze after, right after, in my opinion. And here's where the sus is. You got in the money calls at that time, 3 days ago, you had 107,000. And out of the money puts, not in the money, out of the money, 77,000. So clearly at this point, you've had a huge here. Like, if this was really going to be bullish, not just suspect, this is how you read something and you look at something just from far out without inspecting all the, like, this is how you see what's in the bag without even opening it. If this was to come to fruition and to be just bullish, then you will see this as obviously a high number, and these would be nothing relevant. Like, it won't be too many puts because everybody's busy putting calls. Even the market maker and the institutes and the retail, all of them are jumping in here. This would not even be relevant. This whole side, the put side, will not even be relevant. But when you see this, that means somebody is going really bullish on the calls, and another entity that's in exactly the same but on the opposite end. And basically, if you had to make a wild guess here, who do you think would want the price to be down, and who do you think would want the price to go up? So clearly here, this was an indication showing that the institutes from even the beginning of the week were planning on this, and indeed showing this versus everybody who's jumping long and is like, hey, I want this. But here's the crazy part. This majority of it today, I mean, it grew. This was 3 days ago. Until today, it was over about, I think, 150,000. Like, this even number jumped, like almost doubled, I think. Again, I'm estimating for you now because I'm just looking at it 3 days ago. But this number, I believe, when I looked at it again, was almost doubled. And guess what's the crazier part? Most of it is gone. Where did it go? Somebody clearly cleared out their puts. And this is why you would see now, probably, I haven't looked, but we'll look at the chart and possibly see a level of, like, by 3 o'clock basically, or 4 o'clock, we'll see a level of rebouncing of some sort, and possibly even see the the after hours do another 5-6% jump because of all the delays in the orders, which explains why obviously the price is red, because you have more buy orders coming in, but are they going through? So the manipulation is real. Yeah, and as you can see, we're at least rebounding from the low of the day. We're dancing around. Let's see, at least that's for bbig, which was getting hammered today too. Where are you? Yeah, we're still in that area, 22, 21. There's a lot of calls at the at the $23 and up. After the 22 and a half, everything above that is like 10,000 contracts in volume interest or more, and it keeps going up. And clearly they do not want it to touch 23 or any of that, so they can really capitalize on what they did today. The main manipulation today was mostly on GME. I mean, if you're talking about an April's Fool's done correctly and savagely by them, I mean, look at the day they chose to do what they do. It's definitely not an April Fool's joke, but they're definitely having a laugh with this. And believe it or not, they're very, very narrow-minded if that's what they think. Because at the end of the day, you go back to the beginning of the drawing board and you see that, one, even if this is not the moment where we squeeze, rightfully it was supposed to be, and we were supposed to go. You remember 3 days ago, remember, made the case. We'll see a month from now who really dropped big position in both. I'm going to be looking at what ETF or index fund they utilized to do that, because it will be the same. I guarantee you it's going to be the same person, because they are not going to go ahead and make an agreement with someone and then an agreement with someone else. And 9 times out of 10, everybody who's invested in GME, they're also invested in AMC. They see the the similarities between both plays, even as institutions, not just retail. I've seen it. If you don't believe it, go to Fintel and look at the ownerships, and you'll see very similar players between, now different position amounts, but you'll see very similar players invested in both. Now, what does all this mean? Well, let's go with the variables. Let's see what we have on hand. Okay, let me read some of these before we go with all of that. My average went from, okay, we was there, Alan. Yep. When the price is 5K, no one will talk about the price average anymore. Of course, it's gonna look stupid to talk about 3, 4, 5, 10, $20 difference. It doesn't make a difference. It's about how many you have to sell at that price at that point. Vincent, ¿qué pasó, amigo? We needed that all day today. Peter, yep. SEC is complicit. Kim, I'm gonna get to that comment. I know I just skipped over a couple of you, but I'm gonna get to that. Alan, that was Stanko trackers. Just quick, it only tracks AMC, GME. I never just go solely off of the data that they report, but they never gave me any reason to not doubt it. I mean, it's fun to just watch from there. It's quick because they give you the numbers you need, all the shares on loan, shares that they can borrow. So I will even here show it right here. 1 second. Here, I'll show you guys. You guys could use this also anytime you want. I'm pretty sure most of you probably know it as well. So Stanko tracker, and then after that takes you to either AMC or GME, and you can choose whichever one you want. I think it's pretty cool. Okay. Yeah, all good. It is Stanko tracker, yes. Let's see. Tell the guy that said what's up, G. I said what's up, G. Well, you got it, Nicole. I just did. um, wow. So would you say basically 100,000 price targets are unrealistic? Not financial advice, of course. Mickey, no one can tell you those prices are unrealistic, and no one can tell you what's realistic as well. At the end of the day, I can tell you this. Excuse me. Dependent on, because no one knows the amount of shares that are out there, and no one knows how many they have to deal with. They do, but we don't know that. And that's why another advantage that they have on their end. We need, honestly, like that's for me at the time of the pop, when it comes, or whenever it comes to fruition, I'm going to be looking at the short interest, the volume, the overall average volume. I'm going to be looking at the shorts covering because it's going to be reported data. And yeah, you can see it on your Ortex by then or all that. Now, here's the thing. A lot of confusion lately has been happening with the whole transparency talk. I decided not even to tackle it, but I'm gonna have to just put my input on it now because I'm not even going to tackle it or talk much more about it. The whole transparency, yeah, Lou said it's off, but really it's not. It's the NSC C 2021-10. That's the one that's pulled off. And that is supposed to be to prevent a market crash so that they can just pawn their shares or their positions with the DTCC or with the NSCC, and then they get money, and then all they have to do is when they start making money again after this whole thing, they can pay money back to them so that they can get their positions back. Now here's the thing, wasn't pulled off completely. It was just delayed. I believe until I think it was September or November. So now, which brings me over to this. Let's work with the variables, guys. Let's do some critical thinking here, okay? Forget the the charts and the analysis and all that stuff. Because yesterday was and this week was a very, very fine example of why that stuff does not work with this play or with these plays. The setup is there. The only thing you need to see is the bull flag setup that I showed you yesterday on the charts. And that's the main thing you need to look at. Anything else, that means you're going to be looking at trying to scalp the play. And you know my position on that. I've said a gazillion times that I will never, ever do that with AMC and GameStop. I will buy and sell options. I'll do that in a way that could help the stock move, at least do in my end, because obviously I'm not the only one who or have any control over any of that. But you got to remember, guys, like this play, I'm not touching any of the stocks. I'm not selling any to get anything in return, so that I can get a better price point down the line. Because again, think of that. You think you might be the only one doing it, but if everyone else starts thinking like that, like I said, all it takes is about 40%, 40 to 50% of the crowd, of the holders, to think that way. And you can kiss the squeeze goodbye, because when these guys, absolutely, what is the term of a squeeze? Is to squeeze people out of their shorts, because they need shares and they can't have shares and they have to cover. And if we have bozos out there, and and this is on purpose, I'm saying that word on purpose. If we have bozos out there who's handing them shares just so that they can make a couple extra $100 or $1,000 on one play, and then try to wait for it to drop down to buy back at a cheaper point. Okay, you feel like you did what you did, but like that, you're never, like you yourself, you just made, if you're one of those, I'm sorry to be saying it like this towards you, but I'm just explaining to you my point, like my output on that. You're basically giving them the shares they need to continue doing this stuff, which means you're controlling the fact that you're never going to see a squeeze if you're doing that. Like I said, all it takes is about 40-50% of the people to think that way, and we can kiss the squeeze goodbye. Now, do I think anybody is thinking like that on a high level? No, because the numbers are showing it. If I didn't see that, I would be the first one to be out. But I'm not seeing that, because every day's orders that I'm looking at, the level 2 data, I'm seeing more buying coming in than selling. So therefore, to me, I don't have to rely on anybody's word of mouth or trust me bro or trust me sis, none of that stuff. I don't need that, because that does not make me money, or it could lose me money. And same for you. But I can see the numbers and I can trust them, and I see that there's more buying than selling, which means even if there's any bozos out there doing that, selling their shares so that they can get a better price point down the line and scalping this play, they're very minimal. And they're stupid, because eventually when this pops, they're going to be the ones who's chasing, because they're going to, even if they're in the play, they're going to sell as soon as it pops like $3-4, and they're going to say, yes, I was able to defeat it. And then they're going to think it's going to come down. They sold for $3-4 profit, whatever percentage that is for them. And then next thing you know, it continues its run, because this is the moment, this is the run at that time. And when it runs, they're going to be the ones who's chasing it at the 80s and the 90s and at the 100, because they're going to be looking first for a second, like, oh, okay, well, it didn't drop after that $3-4. It's continuing to go up. Okay, well, I'll wait for it to come down. Maybe I sold early last time. Okay, note for the future. I mean, again, this is just, I'm walking you through the thinking process of what's going to be happening in their head. Then they see the price surge 20, 30, $40 out of nowhere in a matter of literally like not even 2 minutes, 1 minute, even less. Next thing you know, they're going to be like, I need to get on this. This is the squeeze. And that's when there's chasing in the 80s and the 90s. And guess what? You can kiss all that money that you made previously scalping this play. You can kiss it goodbye. You're going to feel like literally like a straight up jackass because you let go. You might have started with 500 or 600 shares, but now that you've got to buy back at 80 and 90 at 100, you're gonna buy what, 100 shares with whatever money you made. So who's the joke? Who's the jokester here, and who's gonna look stupid? You are. So again, I'm not telling anyone what to do and what not to do, but this is the way I feel about who day trades or who scalps AMC or GameStop. And that's just my 2 cents on it, guys. If you don't feel it, I'm sorry. You don't have to hear me more. You know what you have to do. You can just go about your business and go find the place that tells you what you need to do or shows you how you can go ahead and day trade these plays. And we'll both meet when the squeeze happens and we can talk about it. Because I already know they can let the price down and let the movement down like this, but trust me, if they leave this like this longer and longer, by the end of this year, best believe I will have more than 5 figures in amount of stock in AMC. I will. It'll be crazy. In June, it was already in the 4 figures, and some of you who've seen the post have seen it. But if they leave this longer, it's only going to give me the opportunity to continue to accumulate more. Why? Because ultimately, the ultimate prize, it's all about who has more tickets. It's kind of like a raffle. If you have only one entry, your chances of winning is much less. The more tickets you have in your name, you punch in and you put in that raffle, the higher chance you got of winning. Now, in this case, each one of those tickets is going to count for something. And that's the ultimate goal for me. I'm not trying to influence you to do the same, but if it makes any sense to you, then guess what? I feel so much better that now I'm not the only one who thinks that way. If I am, then I am odd. I am different. Okay, we have a good comment here. I'll get to it now. Do you think, so yeah, Kim, do I think next Monday will run up? You're going to expect a run up every week because they can't just, do a down red movement every day. I remember we had like 4 sessions almost that were in the green, some way higher than some other. But at the end of the day, it almost felt like this was going to be the movement from now on. Like we were only going to expect green from now on. And obviously we know that's not the case. But guess what? Alan even said it. We're still higher than where we started last week. So this is gradually growing and growing. And all the shenanigans they're doing, guys, they're paying top dollar for this. It makes me feel good that they're giving you guys, me, and everyone more time to buy more. I understand we want to be done with this, guys. But remember this. Imagine if you started with, hypothetically speaking, 500 shares, okay? And today, this happened. And the squeeze is not basically confirmed as far as today. Guess what? And don't get me wrong, this could take off after hours. This could take off on Monday, any given moment, because all the needed things for this and the atmosphere for a squeeze is already there. It's already been there. They've just been delaying it left and right, paying top dollar to do so, so that they can have enough money to deal with it when it comes to it. But imagine if you started with 500 shares and they did this. Now you have, more time to add more to it. So let's say they take this to August, just hypothetically speaking, and by August you are able to up your position almost double it to 1,000. Would you care about those 4 months of hardship, time, and all that stuff? Now that you've doubled your position, I guarantee you in August you'll be like, I can't wait for this to be over. I'm done. Like, let's let it be over because now I have 1,000. But you're gonna get even more greedy. You're gonna be like, if they let this go on for a few more months, I might up it to 1,500, and they keep it in these price ranges. Again, I don't obviously see any of that happening, working out that way. I definitely see a rise in the price, even if they continue this until August or whatever, until later part of this year. The price will not be around this price because keeping it at this price, it's like you have no idea how much money. We all have no idea how much money they're paying. I have a clue of how much money they're paying to do this. They're pulling in so many buddy favors left and right. They're utilizing that big amount of shares and positions that institutes are holding in both AMC and GameStop. This never made anyone go ahead and think that, oh look, all this interest in this play, look, all these institutes. Of course, they were not our friends. They were jumping in for something, of course, because it's all business to these people. But guess what? You know what the business and what the deal was? We need you. That's what the hedge funds and the market makers said. We need you to those institutes because there's no way you're going to come out losing out of this. One, you're going to buy all these shares right now, but you're going to start lending them and you're going to make premium. And we're going to drag this thing out with your help. That's how they basically had the presentation. I'm assuming that's how the presentation went down with these institutes. We're going to use your help and our help to keep this price as long as possible. So we're going to keep coming back to rent shares from you more and more until you beat however much you paid for that position. And on the end of that, you can sell that position. So at the end of the day, it's a win-win for them. This is how business just gets broken down to, you know? And this is why I was, kind of not happy that all these institutes were jumping in because all they were doing was making money. And this way they ensured that they will never come out on the losing end. But in the same time, all these hedge funds and market makers will owe so many favors to these peoples. And the biggest one was this last Tuesday when they did what they did and they had to own up or go up to somebody, buddy up to somebody and say, please, we'll kiss that ring. We'll kiss whatever you want us to kiss. Just go ahead and sell or dump all these shares that you have in your position and we'll pay you this. I mean, if they have to pay them an extra $1 billion on the side just so that they can dump and do what they did to bring us back down, they would do it because they know on the other hand, like on our side, it's not going to cost them $1 billion to pay for the squeeze. It's going to cost them trillions of dollars to pay for the squeeze. So they would be more than happy to part way with whatever just so they won't let that case scenario happen. The sad truth is for them is that they've been delaying all this, as I've been telling you guys before, so that they can make enough money to make sure they pay for this so that they don't come out on also the losing end. Remember from the get-go they said they want to pay for this through the movement. So the movement is going to pay for the movement. Good thing is that I see that we're rebounding a little bit here, which is again very, very, very good for us. Again, I don't let any of this get to me. I always look at it as, like I said, I'm gonna keep adding to my position and keep upping it. If they do that, because at the end, when it comes to it, like the more shares I have, the more money I'll accumulate, and the more damage to them, and they will have to own up to it. And I'm not only in one broker, you guys know this. I have it scattered, and I have many eggs in many baskets. So however way, at least for me, this is why I carry the way of thinking the way that I think the way I think is because I always want to cover my bases and try to be as safe as possible. And I'm trying to hopefully influence that up onto you guys. That way you are not the one who's coming out either screaming or pissed or angry at somebody or looking for somebody that owes you something who doesn't owe you anything. But this is life and this is how it works. Most of the time it's not fair. So I do think we're going to have next week another run up and we're going to have some weird, things similar to this week being done. How they're going to be hurting? Well, after this week, I remember options wise, something similar to this of what happened this week happened 3 times since the June run up. There was 3 different occasions I remember, if I'm not mistaken, where it was down to the wire and they really there was so many different call options that were gonna throw us into the gamma ramp and automatically into squeeze mode, and all of them were done with the same manner where all the hundreds of thousands of options expired worthless and the market maker made so much more money. Were they a play? Were they correctly? No. Of course there's a lot of manipulation, guys. Of course there's a lot of cheating. And this is what bothers me a lot about this, is that there are actually people in retail and some YouTube channels out there even who are coming out saying, haha, I seen this and all this stuff and we could do this and do that. It's like, this gets to me so much because you're trying to be a guru with a squeeze play that it's so easy to predict that every week, oh, they're gonna attack us. No shit, smartass. Like again, this is probably AB's rant because it doesn't take a genius to predict that, guys. It doesn't take a genius to predict an attack on a squeeze play. Of course, they're gonna attack us every single day, and the days they let you run up are the days to be worried for more than the days that they bring you down in. Because the days they bring you down in, at least you know that you know what they're doing, you know what's happening, and it's right in front of you. But the days that on a run up, that's the days you have to be worried for because you don't know, of course, where is it gonna stop, where's the peak, where's the top. Especially if the shorts are not covering, because if shorts are not covering, then your mindset is set up to squeeze mode. I'm not touching, this is me at least, I'm not touching any of my shares until I see the shorts start covering. That's when I'm start thinking, like, or taking that run up seriously. All the stuff that happened this past week and this week, of course, I was so bullish for it because of the sentiment, because you gotta feel good, you gotta think good to expect good to come to you. So you gotta be positive. Of course, I wanted it to be the time, but if it's not, I have plan B ready to go, and actually, I'm more excited. Uh, Now you have more opportunity to buy more, and add more to your position. If you truly are about this cause, whether AMC or GME, then this would should make you happy, not should not make you upset. I understand you want to be over with it so you can go on with your life and do what you got to do. Um, but let's be grown-ups about it, guys. Um, we all need the money. Sorry, I slammed the table so it dropped the camera. So we all need the money to go do our projects and whatever we want to do. And therefore, to do so, we need clearly the money. So the only way you're going to get that money is when they tap out. If you want anything else like less money, or you're okay with less, then this is what you're looking at right there. You could always get that, throw in the towel and exit. I know for me, I'm I'm ready to go with this to 2029 to 2030. I'm fine. Go ahead. I'll keep up in my position. By then, I will have possibly the whole float myself. All right, let's answer some of these so I can relax a little bit before the end of the market day. Is it the end? No, almost. Last 13 minutes. Let me read some of the comments, and then we'll talk about some more stuff about bbig and the other plays. And as far as also the wheat plays, I've seen a comment here somewhere about will it get you know, approved or not. My tube's been wacky. Hopefully you're referring to YouTube, Vincent. Okay, right there, yeah. .com, you said anyone thinks the feds will legalize weed or be denied again. Here's the thing, I know they will eventually legalize it. There's no other way around it. They're gonna need the money that they could tax out of it. It's billions and eventually trillions of dollars that they can make out of it over the years. Now here's the thing, what they can do, and I've read on this, is they can allow it to be like on the state level, I guess for all of them, but they could keep the feds out. Now you would ask like, okay, well, what's the Fed gonna make out of this? Because at the end of the day, you're asking the right question. The Fed is an entity of its own. It doesn't care about anyone else, no citizen whatsoever. I would have a hard time believing that they care about you or me, or our best interest, because clearly you see where the inflation is and what they did about it. But what they would do is, of course, they would care. They want to make money themselves. That's what that entity is all about, is accumulating more wealth and more wealth, because wealth is power. And if they ever need any money, they just print more dollars. Yeah, go F you, dollar. And that's basically what it comes down to, is when the tides become really terrible, and let's say the war is getting worse, it's not ended, inflation is flying, and they can't do nothing about it or any of that stuff, then eventually when everyone on a state level accepts it, because right now they're the only ones who's basically become like they're still keeping that whole marijuana thing as this is a drug and it's not good for the world and the community. So they're still conservative about it. They want to hold that image because there are a lot of conservative people about that topic. They still don't accept this, or are not down with that. I'm talking about especially the people who are above that millennial age, the older crowd. Millennial and down, everybody don't care. Even if you're not with it, you don't care about it. If the millennials and the Gen Zs and all that stuff, they kind of more like, you're with it, we're with it. Good. You're not with it, just don't step up against it, and don't be against it because it's somebody else's right to do what they want to do. That's just the way they take it. Now older crowds don't see it that way, and normally the people that are paying for Congress campaigns and Senate members and all that stuff, those are the people that are in that age. They're not millennials or Gen Zs, most of them. And they're very conservative about that. They still got that idea that this is drugs and this is bad. It doesn't matter what I think and what you think about it, but at the end of the day, that's just the way they see it. So it's a matter of time before the tides are shift over and completely different. And I believe we will do it, just simply not for all the right reasons, simply for the money that they can tax out of it. If they need money, they could easily realize that, but they're going to wait for the whole country to be on that page first before they could go ahead and say, okay, we did it. Similar to the do you guys remember how, like, here, especially in the US, it's all about the movements and the public opinion. You always see, like, what's a good example to this? There's many good examples, but they're very controversial. So, you got to worry with which one you bring up. But there's many things that are in a similar boat. But since the crowd is split on it, they still don't touch it. But when they see that the tides are more in favor of the people who want it to be, then of course they will agree with it because they can make money out of it. They don't want to take a side of someone who they believe is eventually going to be the losing end of that movement. I don't know. It's getting a little too deep. If it makes sense to you, it makes. If it doesn't, sorry. This is just me going deep with you on things. But that's all I have to say about that for now, for the time being. I know that at least New Jersey have, the Senate there have prolonged it, so it might take longer. Thank you, Mikey. I hope everybody thinks the same as far as AMC and GameStop and how they go about it. Yes, Eric, thank you. Feet up, chilling, and this is what everybody needs to be. I'm preparing personally for a crazy month upcoming for Ramadan and being fasting all day, every day. So at least it's going to be a very spiritual month for me upcoming. And, I'm going to have to watch all my words and everything. I'm not going to be able to cuss these guys out or any of that. Not that I sit there and worry about it or even cuss them out. Like I said, I have two mindsets. One, if it's the time, I'm ready. If it's not the time, I'm ready to keep buying more. Trust me. Ultimately, all roads lead to Rome, and that's my destination, and that's your destination too, if you want it to be. 214,954, so 215,000 calls out of the money. Market makers are making a killing. Yep. The market makers made a killing, courtesy of Citadel. But all that money they made, trust me, they're putting literally most of that money, if not all that money, right back into paying interest fees, paying all the favors, splitting it with who accomplices and all that stuff. I know it sounds like a mafia business, and you're probably wondering, like, well, come on, man, there's a government. This is not a movie. Well, you might want to think twice about that statement, because if that's what you think, personally, you don't want to ask me what I think governments are. You don't want to ask me that question, because the answer is not going to be something you probably would want to know. Let's just say when I think of the government, there's not a shiny rainbow that goes over my head. Redwan, I think I can only hold on for another year. Dude, that's plenty of time. But if you could hold off for a year, you could hold on for 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. When it's all about the money and your future, trust me, even when it comes, you could say as many times you want, I can only hold until then. But when you get to that moment, your mind will change quickly because you're gonna be like, well, what if it happens next month? What if it happens next week? You know? Alan, I feel the OGs from, hold on. Tiny said, I know, right, Alan? Image of that amount were turning into shares. Yeah. Imagine if those were turning into shares. And Alan said, I feel the OGs from March 2001 hold the real shares, in my opinion. Um, I would like to believe that I'm holding many, if not a lot of real shares. I mean, I would say the base of my shares started, of course, in September of 2020, but the rest I accumulated through flipping options, and then with that money that I make, you guys know, some of you know who knows about options know how they can turn around big. And though that big turnaround, I was dumping all back into the play. So that was the point of it, is to get those shares and basically invest them right back in so that I can help the movement go up, because that's just extra shares now that they got to worry about, or that went to the buy side. Like I told you guys, I really hope everyone went and commented on the ATS regulation in the Federal Register, because now you guys see the whole play. NSC 2021-10, everybody thought that was the most important thing, and it got pulled until September or November, the end of this year. Which could indicate, because now you got to go with the tangibles that we have on hand, which could indicate that this is when they're planning on, taking this thing too. Not trying to bring you down, but you got to take all like all your variables that are handed to you. Like if this is the cards that you're dealt, you gotta think critical here. So for me, I'm never gonna hide anything from you guys. You're gonna get everything from me. So now I'm thinking for myself, and you're gonna have a little image on how I'm thinking. So here I'm gonna put things out there, and this is me thinking on the inside, and it's gonna be out loud to you guys. So this, let me just go with this. So it could be that. Would it be possible that they're dropping that, and they took that regulation out so that they could prepare it for the end of this year, so it could take effect early 2023 or any of that? Possibly. But let's see what we also have against that. Because, you got to think of all the variables. The market, how it is, it's completely propped up, and we see it in the federal repo and reverse repo. Can they continue this? Well, clearly they've been continuing this throughout most of all of 2021, and now we're almost going to approach half of 2022, and they're still propping this thing up. Okay, so can they continue that until next year? I highly doubt it, really highly doubt it, because the whole stock market is hostage to this. Amazon is not moving correctly because of this. Tesla is not moving correctly because of this. Microsoft is not moving correctly because of this, because everything is connected to this. Whether you see it or not, I can help you see it. If all those major hedge funds and then this market maker is over leveraged on these plays, on these meme stocks, all of them, not just GameStop or AMC, which that means that they're not able to participate or even do anything on the other stocks, like the blue chip stocks, whether Apple or not. They have positions, of course, everywhere, but they're over leveraged somewhere else. So right now, they have been busy for over a year fighting a war. They're at war too. We're at war with them. So they're busy right now. No one cares about no Apple. No one cares about this stuff like on their end. They're making money here and there, but they're still held tied down. Like they can't fly the way they want because something is holding on. We're holding on to their leg. So they and it's so many of us to the point where they're not gonna fly until they deal with this. Either they kill all of us, or to free themselves, or we bring them down, and obviously what happens then. And obviously bringing them down is going to be the scenario here. I would like it to be the scenario, because I could see That happening over anything else, like them flying away and getting away with this, because if they do that, I can't see any variable where they can just let it go and screw everybody over. So for those of you who's thinking about the possibility, how can they could they possibly screw us over? I don't see any. I don't, personally, I don't see anything unless there's something I'm not seeing. There is nothing that I see that they can get away from this. Because if they could, they would have done so very many months ago. They would not be in this. They would not try to get people all in their business. Do you know how many apes are looking at tracking Kenny Griffin's flights, Kenny Griffin's toilet, Biden's cabinet? Like these guys don't like when we're all upward and others are in their business. They're not being able to move as they see, and we got so many apes to the point where they're all viewing every little move for over a year of all these people. How many congressmen that we brought out of the dark who were illegally trading? Of course, the whole Congress probably. You've seen what happened with Pelosi, even when that analyst asked her that question, and she started getting mad at him, and she didn't even have an answer, truthfully, to say. No, that doesn't make sense. No, like she was just all out of sorts. You've seen how we brought to light what Powell was doing, what Treasury Yellen was doing, making millions from Citadel, on the bankroll for speaking fees. Wow. Hey, Citadel, if you're hearing this, AB would like to speak, and I will charge you. I'll give you a discount too. I will charge you half of what Yellen charges. And trust me, I'm much younger. I can, hold this conversation. I can speak and do all that stuff. And I promise, I won't put all the money that you give me, the speaking money, into AMC and GameStop. Oh wait, I'm not the commissioner of the Treasury. Oh, okay, or the chairman. I see. I'm also not the commissioner of the feds. I'm not a congressman too, or a senator. Okay, so you can't bribe my campaign. You guys see the writing all over the wall. This is my point. This is me being just sarcastic. There's no way they can get out of this, because if they could have, if there was even one slight chance they could have, they would have done so long time ago, swiftly, before this became more of a public opinion now. This is a public matter. Everybody's seeing this. Everybody's tuning in. This has turned into like something that's when history remembers it, there's no way it can remember it as remember when the entire U.S. government screwed over its people, because that's how it's going to be remembered. And they're not. I just don't see any. There's no way that this is going to happen. So let's get out of all that, and let's get back into here. Let me read some of the comments, and then we're going to talk about a few more things. Let's see. Where's the questions? Kim A, how many shares do you have now? It's still in the four figures. It's more than what's in the picture that I posted. It was more than the 5,000. Tiny investor, I kind of secretly wish it goes lower to under 100 again before the split. As far as GME, I don't see that happening, Tiny, and here's why. Because now everybody is thinking exactly just like you. And like, everybody knows, like, oh, if GME ever does this again, and it's obvious at this point, then that will happen. Now, I'm not saying it won't happen, but if it does happen, it's just so unlikely that they will let that happen, because again, the fact that, and I'm pretty sure that everybody's going to vote on that in that board meeting. I know what my vote is going to be, and I'm not going to, again, I'm not influencing anyone. I'm not telling what anyone should vote or any of that, to or no or not, but my vote is going to be an absolute yes. There's no dilution when you do that. This is not diluting. This only gives, if you truly care about the company, this gives the company more abilities to do things on a highly, like after the MOAS, do great things corporately and continue to flourish and grow. Now, as far as you guys know, if you really love AMC and GameStop, what's the worst thing after the MOAS? I know we don't give. No, I'm not gonna say that. I'm gonna talk about myself. I know that I'm mainly in this for the money and for the play. Okay, now I still, even after the MOAS, I still would like to see that AMC is flourishing and growing and GameStop is growing and flourishing. That would be lovely because, again, I'm going to continue to support them. That's just me. And when I see that, that proposal and that rule, of course, I'm going to be feeling really, really big on voting yes for that because, one, not only that we're going to get dividends, two, all the shares have to be accounted for so that it can be multiplied all the way over to that billion amount of shares. So now at 300 million, you're talking about 3.3. So it's going to be 3 shares and zero point 0.3 fractional shares, as far as what I know for now. And it's all going to be voted on in, I think, June 9th or 11th in the annual meeting, which is, I think, a day or a few days after the earnings report. So if voted yes, then at that point, they're gonna, decide when it will be completely submitted and when will it completely take effect. And only at that point, I can literally tell you where there is a clear image on, like, valuable info that truly indicates a MOAS happening. Now, can they come out of the ballpark out of nowhere before June and just start covering? That's more likely than waiting until June. And why is that? It's because I've even said this many times before. They never wait until the crime is shown and they get caught holding the knife. They're not going to wait until then. If they know and they know that this thing is over, they're just dragging it on, try to make some money on the side, try to see if they can wiggle their way out of this, and each one to their own in a way. Because when it comes time to it, each one will get rid of everyone else. No one's going to care about no one. It's all about me or nothing at that point. I just want to make sure I survive. That's how they're going to be thinking. So are they going to wait until they get caught red-handed with a knife full of blood? Of course not, because the punishments are even way more severe than you having to pay for the MOAS. And on top of that, since now you got caught in front of everyone, the government is like, I really don't want to do this to you, but you did this to yourself. Now you left me with no choice but to have to be extreme on you, so that so that the public or the world does not revolt. Because at the end of the day, when you and I go and rob a bank, you know what we have to do. One, you got to give the money back. Two, you got to serve 10, 20, 15 years, maybe life. With these guys, they can just get a fine, you know. You just get a fine, and it's at best, compared to what they robbed, it will be a joke. It's kind of like stealing $5 million and you get a fine of 100,000. Don't do it again, because we're gonna fine you another 100,000. This hookah business thing is not working, because I take 1, 2, 3 puffs and then I throw it down and we continue with our fun. Yeah, so it's a big waste. More shares in my pocket. Yep, feel it. I'm feeling that. That's me, Tiny. The hedge funds, I think, already got out, and I think they're just. Oh no, yeah, that future. When I agree with anyone, I agree with anyone. When I don't agree with anyone, I don't. It's just I don't see it that way. Um, I mean, again, I respect everybody's opinion, but nobody is out. If they're out, none of this data will be showing. And trust me, this price would not be where it's at right now. If all the shorts are out as we speak, AMC will be very ripe to all short right now instead of back then, and they could easily bring this down to the $1 valuation they were talking about. But they're not out. Um, Tiny, yeah. See, future. That's how they want us to feel. They have no choice but to drive it down, hoping we get tired and sell. One share will turn to three three shares in 3 months. Yep, that's mainly GME speaking. Future said, "I'm a trader. This is what I do." Um, I believe. I mean, I think we're all traders at this point, but excuse me, but as far as like trade future, what, like I said, my output as far as trading this. So I hope you're not referring to selling and buying into GME and AMC back and forth. As far as shares wise, if you do, again, I don't hate anyone or have anything against anyone, but not my kind of thing, and you're gonna possibly hear things that you're just not gonna agree with from my end, because I made my stance very clear as far as these two plays. Day trading them or trading them back and forth is, and I laid out earlier why I think is a terrible idea. Look at Tiny. Tiny again, moderator in the future to take over this channel. Sometimes do the lives yourself. Uh, Boomers don't like millennials or Gen Zs as a whole. It's why they will rather die with their power than hand it over. Yeah, and that's how it works. I think every generation always looks at the very next as a really screwed up generation. And you remember in our time, we would never dare to do this. Look at them now; they're doing this and that, and I think that's just life. But it's all again, that's the circle of life. Boomers are gonna be, on the way out, and millennials are in the way in. As far as that power pendulum that is heading to, who's gonna hold it, and then eventually millennials are gonna go out, and Gen Zs are gonna come in, and so forth and so forth. It's just a circle of life. Somebody can sing the Lion King right now. Ramadan Mubarak to you too, Jay, brother. I'm buying and holding with you, y'all. Vincent, I would expect nothing else from you, brother. Welcome back, Eric. I bought a ton of shares in June also. Alan, yeah, see, this is maybe you did the same thing the same thing that happened with you happened with me. Uh, as far as playing with options and playing with other plays and take the profits, whatever they are or however big they are, and dumping them into AMC and GameStop. Um, Looks like we're closing at 46. What 655 calls in the money. Another ramp for next week. Um, Maybe. I wouldn't count too much on it. And the reason why, Alan, on this one is because look how much they had this week. It was like what, 240, almost 300,000 went out of the money between both puts and calls. That the market maker hedged really well for and took advantage of. So this could easily be now enough to carry them and to continue screwing with us for a few weeks, because this was a big fish. Like, they captured this week. This is why I was labeling it as the most important week for the foreseeable future, because the amount of interest that was on it was very immense. And I believe I saw that about 2 to 3 times, I think, since that last June run up, that this similar setup happened. Where it's all everything right now and automatically jumps you right into the squeeze mode, or not. And clearly, like I said, Tuesday, you guys all saw it. I'm not the only one who's just speaking this. Even Lou is saying he saw it. You know, um, you saw how violent that rip was gonna go up in just the first few minutes. Clearly, it wasn't time. They didn't have enough money, and therefore they needed to put more money, spend more money. See, it doesn't make any sense for them to do what they do. They needed to throw more money into down the toilet and flush it, rather than let it obviously go now, because they don't even have the NSCC approval or the DTCC to give them any money. So you should be excited, guys. In fact, I would love for the squeeze to happen before this upcoming September or November. because I don't want a bailout. Honestly, I don't want the NSCC to give them money, or the DTC, or even the feds to give them money for this. I want it to be a full market crash, honestly. And I know it sounds dark, and I know people don't want to see that, and I know a lot of people are going to hurt from it as far as index funds, 401k holders are going to hurt from this. But I want to see a market crash happen so that all that red will be on their hands, and they're doing, and they're the ones who did it. Yes, of course, they're going to label us to the media that we're the ones who caused this. But we didn't do anything. All we did was invest. The market is a public place. Unfortunately, they don't like the fact that we are trying to take away what we want, not the leftovers that they throw over to us. They've been used to all these years in the past of throwing breadcrumbs, and after they get done eating and get full, then they throw everything else our way, the leftovers our way. And now, obviously, has not been the case ever since the 2021 January run up. So it's so easy to see why and how they're against us. Sorry, I was getting a call, guys, so you probably heard it in the background. So if the squeeze happens before September or November of this year, or whenever that next implementation of NSC 2021-10, then it will be a full-on wide market crash. Yes, a lot of people will hurt. 401ks, pension funds, all that stuff will go down the drain. The government will bail that part out. Trust me, I know it, because they're just not gonna they're not gonna let revolutions start because of this. But they'll bail that side out. The rest, all these companies will be dirt cheap on the ground, that we all afterwards can easily decide what company will make it out of this, or rises straight out of the ashes like a phoenix or not. Because when you see a Microsoft and a Tesla, or Amazon, and this is why all these companies are doing, are thinking, and they will do stock splits and reverse stock splits, because they want that price of their shares. They want more shares, but they want it to be less so that more people, I wonder who they're targeting, can buy more and more and more of their shares. They know that, right at this point, it's either whales or people with somewhat good amount of money, or people who have 401ks that are investing for them over 20, 25, 35 years, that can invest in their stock. But they want to reach the retail. That's where everybody wants in on the action, like AMC and GameStop. Apparently that made them so much money on that side. So when they do this, more shares out there, more people, investors in it, it can pick up after it drops. And it looks better when it drops from, if they do a stock split for Tesla or Amazon, it just looks better when it drops from 200 or 400 after the split down to $50. Then when it drops from 1,000 or 3,000 in Amazon's case, all the way down to like $300 or $400. You see what I'm saying? So I'm not again, like, I want it to be a market crash. I don't want them to be bailed out by the government, because again, them getting a bailout, meaning you and I are going to pay the taxes that the government is going to obviously implement to pay these guys out, similar to 2008. So somebody had nothing to do with it, a regular, amazing, beautiful citizen, American citizen, who's sitting, minding their own business, living the American dream. And suddenly, out of nowhere, this is just 2008, guys, suddenly out of nowhere, some fuckheads decided to go ahead and be greedy, similar to what we're experiencing right now, and continue to rack in money, doing it illegally, selling a bunch of CDOs, basically worthless mortgages, over and over again. And if you've seen The Big Short, you would know very well, like, exactly how they were doing it. I'm pretty sure you guys seen the part. If you didn't understand the whole movie, that one part summed it all up when the guy from The Office, the 40-year-old virgin, that's what I remember him as. I don't remember his name. When he was speaking to that stripper, and she was saying, in that movie, like, yeah, I have a condo and I have a house. And, like, how easy it was for her just to go and sign up and get a mortgage. Anybody with whatever credit rating was able to go and get whatever they wanted. it was just crazy back then. And now you, the great citizen, you've been sitting there minding your own business, paying your taxes, while people are plotting. There's certain individuals similar to the faces that we're dealing with now that brought the whole economy, not just nationally here, not just in the US, but globally. So many people, the middle class got decimated since the beginning of that to a whole 2008 crap. And it's almost rare now. And after this, you're not going to have no more middle class. Like, you're going to have literally after this upcoming crash, you're going to have only poverty and wealthy. That's it. There's not going to be anything in between. If you can't see that, you got a lot to prepare for. And this is why, when you think of all this, guys, this is why you will become to think similar to what I've been saying, to accumulate. That was why it was always my number one thing. When you see all these things revolving and you put them all in one image and one small picture, you will see that you need to accumulate as many shares as possible, because for what's to come, you're going to need a lot to cover you and take care of you and your loved ones. So seeing all that just gave me all this, inclination to why I need to be on that mission of collecting more and more and more and more shares and add more to my reservoir. And not just in one place, many other places. I will continue to do so until this thing pops off, because it will pop off. I'm not gonna say trust me, bro, and get you guys to like get a laugh before you go out tonight or any of that stuff. But yeah, who ultimately paid the price for that 2008 crap for this greedy individuals and those bastards that were doing whatever they wanted at will just to make more money? They had to take it from you and me. Eventually, when the government bailed them out and gave them the money again, like they gave them money on top of, like, didn't even put it to this, like didn't even send it to us. Like, if I was the president at that time, economy is screwed. Like, the bankers, the financial institutions, and the hedge funds that brought down the economy, they still get rewarded and get bailed out. I would have changed the whole financial system. We were already at rebuild at that point. We crashed. I'll start a whole new system. If I was the government and I was for the people, I would have started a whole system. Because every crash, remember one thing: what is the number one player in common or similar to all crashes that have happened in the past? Banks. Banks. So that's the same common player in all crashes. They're there. That's the one person that's always a part of whatever crash happened in the past. There's always an involvement for banks, and obviously financial institutions. So why not rebuild the whole system, which is ultimately now by default, they will have to change it to the digital and to the crypto sector. This is, again, my personal opinion, guys. It's not factual, but this is what I see. Because after this market crash, there's no way no dollar is going to pick up nothing. It's going to be all digital, and it's going to be crypto. And that, trust me, even after people make money with this thing, the dollar value is going to be so low and it's going to be so screwed up after that crash, that to the point where if you don't really have hard assets like properties, lands, or companies, crypto, all whatever you have. It's like, remember, a dollar back in the 80s was worth something. A dollar right now is nothing. You can't even go to McDonald's with it anymore. I remember when you could go to McDonald's and, at least get even. You can walk in with $1 and walk out with a burger, whether it's a McChicken or a regular small little hamburger. Now you can't even find that anymore. It's true. It's over $1. Whatever you go get, there's nothing called dollar menu anymore. And we're moving on way, way worse times. Now, what's the point of all this rant, guys, you're asking me? I just want to give you an overall image on the times that we're going to be heading toward, and how, when you have all that in the back of your head, you at least have now more homework to do yourself to go ahead and act ahead of time. Even if none of this was to check to be true, but there's a small little tiny possibility of it being, coming to fruition, don't you want to at least cover your bases from now? Just be safe. What if it does? What if it does? We can sit here and say, nah, I don't see that happening. But what if it does? And the likability of it happening, I feel like it outweighs the possibility of it not. Look at the world. Look at what's happening around us. Okay, let me stop for a second. Again, think about this. There were a lot of institutions that had millions of shares last year. Now we own 90% of, and Vanguard and BlackRock on most of the other ones that happened to all of those hedge funds. Okay, and where is all that money? And where is the money from the stores that have covered it being put up to the side somewhere? Okay, I don't think I'm getting future. I don't think I am able to get your point. But what I could say is I'm assuming you're referring still to the fact that they possibly have all covered. I'm assuming that that's what you're still talking about. There is nothing to phase you, future will. If you see, here, explain this. This is how I can make sense of this. Just one without diving deep into this. Look at the daily movement. Look at the buy orders and look at the sell orders. Look what outweighs what. And then you can decide on if they're able to do or get out or not, you know? Clearly, you can see that obviously there's more buying than selling. And it's reported numerically here, not just, you know, making it up, for any of us making it up. So when you're looking at this, in future, I'm not coming at you hard, you know, you're part of the family here and always been. So and that's what family do. We have to cover all our bases. So even for bringing that up, you're not automatically a shill. Not in my book, never will you be. Again, you said one thing and to sum it up, you said you're a trader. So I can't fault you for the way you think. Again, I just didn't agree with the idea of having to sell in and out of AMC or GameStop as far as shares wise, because then you're giving them the shares they need to do what they got to do. Wow, did you guys just see that on my chart? That just changed on AMC from 330 2330 that it closed at to 2328. Did anybody else see that or what? Is this like the like how it could be a glitch, but they're very infamous for that. Maybe those 2 cents were very crucial for breaking even for Monday, what contracts they have to pay for. And you guys also saw how only for this week they've added many more options on the option chain just for this week. They've added many 50 cent like, you know, increments on AMC, at least I would say that, and even for GME, but AMC in particular. If there was only 20, 21, 22, there was 20, 20 and a half, 21, 28, 1 and a half, 22, 22 and a half, 23. The option, the market maker was really trying to capitalize as much on this week so that they can take that money because it's much needed, so it can help taking care of them down the line next week, the week after. And that's the only thing they've been doing. Will this again be carried on over and over and over again? Of course not, because again, the number one thing is money. Even if they had so much money this week, they have to pay so much out of that to so many different entities. I'm just still wondering to see what happened with the DOJ. You know, started a case and got quiet, completely dimmed out. Look at the crazy part of this. I guarantee you, on the day of the squeeze, it'd be so hilarious, and it would be so like them on the day of the squeeze where they report that, oh, the DOJ reports foul play on such and such and such and such, and their case magically comes out and comes to fruition on the day of the squeeze. You heard it here first. Thank you, DOJ. Alan, AB is going to be fucking rich. We all are, man. That's the idea of all this. Let me be also a little clear about something, guys. I'm not an individual who thinks that money makes you. I think you make the money. Like I said, I have my small personal businesses. I've always said that I was going to share the story of how I got to be my my own boss since 21. I haven't worked for anybody else. That story is amazing. One day we'll talk about it. Maybe over the weekend we'll talk about it. So if you guys want to, just put that in the comment section. I will definitely share it. It's a great story. It might make some, it might make you very, very, very influenced, or it might make you feel some type of way. We'll see. If you guys want to hear it, I'll talk about it on over the weekend. Pete, I love it. I don't care if it goes to 2025. I'm holding. So am I. I'm with you. Do you think they even care about the retail investor? Do you think they care of the retail remain in the market? Um, Here's the thing. They care about the retail remaining in the market, but do they care about the retail investor? Of course not. So there's two answers to that question, um, because their intention, it's all about intent. Their intention, do they care about you? No. Similar to when you have a lot of money, majority of the people around you are not going to be people who really care about you. People who are around you just because, you got the moolah. They want some of this, they want some of the action. Um, Now, of course, at that point, that's when it becomes wise of you to filter out those individuals, the ones that are good for you to be around, or the ones that are not good for you to be around in your life. Now, again, they don't, like I said, they don't care about the retail investor, but they do want the retail investor to stay in because of the money that the retail investor brings. Now, if this literally carries on until after April, then I'm very confident this will take on until the end of the year. Why would I say that? Because if it takes on until after April, I'm thinking of many different things. One, you have tax returns that will be finished by April. Most people would have been done already. And if this thing, maybe like the reason why I'm thinking like that, or why would it take until the end of the year if it is not finished by April, is because at the end of the year, like if they get all the people got their tax returns and they want the retail and they know how they are, they're gonna dump them all in these plays. Maybe they can get to maybe they can get more people to jump and dump all their tax returns, and so they can take more money and most likely try to have the ability of playing some more people for their money, especially for the ones that sell quick or the ones that get worried for every little drop. You know, if you're the ape, you've been an ape for a while, at least for last year or more, and none of this stuff phases you. You don't care about this. It's kind of like a bummer because it's not it, and we've seen the squeeze being taken away from us this last Tuesday, but that doesn't change you. Um, it doesn't affect you because you're like, okay, now let's move on. Next week is another week, and then next week we can go ahead and buy. It's an opportunity for us to buy more, and that's just the way it comes. What it really comes down to. So maybe, if, like I said, if it's not handled by April, by this upcoming month, then I don't think it will be dealt with until the end of the year, until NSCC again is back on, and maybe then they want to do a whole bailout again. Because in the summer, I mean, again, all that's just hypothetical thinking, critical thinking, we'll say. But again, last run up was in June, so it doesn't necessarily have to be this or that or this or that. It ultimately comes down to when the money is going to be really screwed up. Now I'm looking to the left, guys. I'm not looking straight at you. You guys know this. For some of you who are in this channel, you subscribers here, you know what I'm doing. I'm looking at my computer and I'm looking at the after hours moving. If you're not subscribed, please go ahead and do so. If you like what you're hearing, if you don't, I'm sorry, you don't have to do so. If you like the content, please like it. That way we get it out to more and more people. If you don't, I'm sorry, you don't have to. You can just, go on about with your life. Soon, I'm gonna start doing this, guys. And I hate even saying this, but I'm gonna start doing this. I'm gonna start putting my other side thoughts on other stocks out there, with every video or everything, or sometimes some lives. I'm gonna put my thoughts on some other stocks that some people can go ahead, and possibly at least look at. If they see any any potential in them, they will go ahead and make a position. If not, obviously I'm not putting them out there so I can get you to invest or not to invest. I'm just putting my thoughts again on this channel. I'm not advising anyone on anything, but I seen some comments before that, said, hey, how about, like talk about stuff like that or show us stuff like that, because I'm pretty sure you're all investors. You all want to see things that could possibly, come to fruition and make you profits. Now, I'm not going to sit there and be telling you like, oh, buy at this level and sell at that level. I'm not going to do that. That's your own courtesy. But I will start putting some plays out there, you know, just to talk about people, about plays and what I think about them. And if you see anything in them the way I see it, you do what you got to do and you do you. If you don't, it's business as usual. Okay, let's see. Where am I at now? Wow, I'm a little bit behind, right? Not too much. Nothing we can't handle. Um, so hopefully that answered the question, Boo. I know it was a little more, but that's my style. Um, and the clutch. What's up, brother? I've been in a tornado, a hurricane, but never a market crash. It's on my bucket list. Well, when you were saying that, when I was reading that, I was looking at also your OKC, because in that area it's known for tornadoes and stuff like that. I don't know about the hurricanes, but I know it's known for tornadoes. There wasn't a tor I remember there was a tornado that happened there not too long ago, back when Russell Westbrook was still with OKC, because I remember him doing some things for the people of the community. Um, so you have never been a part of a market crash. I'm assuming you have not. You weren't there in the 2008, or at least you witnessed it. You weren't part of it. Um, I can tell you this: it's gonna be one of the scariest things to see, even if you're not the party that's affected by it. Because I remember literally in like 2008, I graduated high school in 2006, second year in college in 2008, and it was the craziest probably year ever, anyways, in my life and in the world in general at that point. Um, because I made, like, this will go to the story that I will tell you guys about why did I want to become my own boss, because those events helped make this person today as you see it. One of the driving forces of why this person become like this. But when I was witnessing that and I was seeing that, like, watching the NASDAQ drop the way that it did, watching stocks getting catapulted left and right, um, it was scary, even though I thought that I was not a part of it. But eventually it worked its way around and came to affect me. And how did it do so? With taxes, student loans, uh, everything became a mess. Everything became a mess. The student loans that we're dealing with as a problem, and by the way, you'll see toward the end of this year what kind of issues we will be having with, and what kind of fun we'll be having with student loans and the whole forgiving and all that stuff. We'll see who will be forgiven what. Um, and eventually it came out to haunt every single person that even, like, the most affected were the people who had nothing to do with nothing. The people that were affected the most were the people that had nothing to do with the whole thing. Matt, like, you see how unfair life can be at times and how unfair things can be. Um, and it was just crazy. So look, I'm not gonna tell you to look forward to it, but in this case, we're on the opposite end of that seesaw. Um, Market crash, we up. We crash, market is still up. And we can't crash because you see it. We're already at ground bottom. Um, and this is why the setup is the way that it is, because they want us to be the people that they label after when all this thing is said and done, that brought this whole system down. And you know what's crazy? What's the most disgusting thing about this is that when they say, when they're going to be putting a lot of articles, oh, Melvin gone, it got evaporated like archegos and all that stuff, and things like that. But you know what's the most disgusting thing? It's the simple fact that the CEOs of these entities are gonna be well taken care of. All the stealing and the fee, all that stuff, the company didn't steal. The employees didn't steal it. Most of it was taken by these chairmans and these CEOs, transferring this money to the islands, the Caymans, to the Swiss bank accounts, where it can't be touched again. And later on, when they're proven guilty, of course, even when it comes to that, they'll just file for bankruptcy. They don't have, and when they check their belongings, they'll see that all their belongings was that company, whether it's Melvin or whether it's Citadel or whatever not. And then basically, they get away unscathed. All their employees get screwed. They don't care about the building. They don't care about that company. They'll just start a new one in a few months or in a year or two. They'll take a break for a little bit, and they'll come right back in and do the same thing again. And 12 years later, we're back again to the same crossroads. Another crash. This is how they do this. So they've seen it from the beginning. They know these steps. They really want to crash it too. It's not that only us want it to do what it's got to do. At least some of us don't want the whole market to crash, because you feel for the people that are going to hurt from that. People's pension funds and people's retirement money and Social Security and all that stuff. They want it to crash more than you and me want it to crash. I'll just put it that way, because the figures that are orchestrating all these things are those figures that are taking all that money and transferring and hiding it, obviously, and none of it is going to be touched. So they're basically stealing in plain sight, and no one is saying nothing, because that same money that they're stealing is being sent. Some of that money is also being sent to some campaigns and members and Congress members and all that. Again, this is all my own, I'm not making any allegations or anything, but this is my personal thoughts on the matter. That same money is being taken, a good chunk of it, and given and lobbied over to the people that are making the laws, or at that point hold the key to their freedom. So therefore, I pay you off, I rob, I do all the dirty work, I pay you off. All you got to do is make sure you keep my back clear, and guess what, we both get rich together, and the common citizen gets screwed, and now they have to find a second job and a third job, and ultimately it's even better for them, because now not only that they made money, they also have put every person, or enslaved every person, to work most of their life and majority of the time of their life, so that the quality of life is no longer there. They're enjoying the quality of life, while the common citizen, globally, not just here, is eating basically dirt, and is okay with small breadcrumbs coming their way. In fact, they see it as a huge thing, versus the dream. The dream is killed. Don't think too that big. That's for us. You enjoy these breadcrumbs, and you should be grateful. You should be grateful to this. Why not be grateful? Look, there's people who are dying of hunger out there. I'm so against that, just that idea of thinking, like, I agree with the fact there are people dying from hunger, but the fact that you bring that as an example, I don't really approve with that, guys. My thing is, why can't I think like, okay, Steve Jobs, why can't I be like, have what he has, or Elon Musk, or Jeff Bezos, or whoever, Warren Buffett? Why do I have to think and just be grateful because somebody else out there is dying? Like, okay, that's true, that's happening everywhere. Why can't I think for the better instead of for the worse first? We're gonna go down a different channel for that. Timothy, key phrase, our government is not for the people. Christopher Santos, the way they stopped the squeeze on Monday, who's to say they can't do that forever? I can tell you why they can't do that forever. One, because the market can't continue to be a hostage to all this shenanigans forever. Because right now the market is a hostage. It's not moving and it's not flowing normally. You know, you have again like Apple's other stocks, the other thing is not flowing normally. Like, you know, there's everything wants to move, but there's still this we got to deal with. This is on the back burner. They put us on the back burner, no problem. But we are the most important meal on that burner, because even though we're in the back burner, because it has to cook slowly and delicately, because this thing could pop off in the wrong direction for them, and that's why they're taking it that way. And the writing is all over the wall. It's gonna be done. It's gonna be done, no matter how you see it. And they will have to pay for all their, you know, gimmicks. Yeah, Pete, still 23.30 here. No, the crazy thing is on my chart, it showed it dropped on the chart itself to 23.28. And then now it like, you know, like momentarily right after it corrected itself back to 23.30. Yeah, perhaps a little glitch. Or perhaps they saw that I mentioned it on the live. They're like, okay, let's put it back because now there's timestamp proof. Peter said, LOL, I'm holding, but man, this is a pain in the ass. So many plays I want to get into that isn't possible because of their greed. I feel you, brother. Here's something I could suggest. Again, I don't advise anything or no financial advice or anything. And you probably already also thought of this, but this is just my output on this. There is a way for you to jump into other plays without having to tap into your GME or your AMC shares. You could easily, you know, I know that many of you are waiting for paydays so that they can take the payday and then drop it into AMC and GME, and that's amazing. That's great. No one can tell you that's wrong or that's correct or whatever. You know, you do you. You're up in your position. But if you want to accelerate that, you could easily take some money that, you know, whether you from your payroll, from money from your family, from your whatever, however way you get it, just not from your GME or AMC shares, and start working with that capital, no matter how little it is, with other plays. It's kind of like playing on those other plays, because here's the end game: is that if you get, for example, $1,000 and you're gonna throw it into AMC, that's gonna roughly get you about what? How many shares? 50? Is it something like that? 50, 40, 40 something? But if you were to take that 1,000 and put it on those plays that you're talking about, Peter, that you see, if you see any obviously value in them, you can capitalize on that 1,000, make it 2 or 3 or 4, and eventually you could, when you come back to put that into AMC, or as you're going, let's say you made a couple grand out of that grand. Now you take out 1 grand, throw it in AMC and GME, and then the other grand you keep it as capital, liquid cash that you're dealing with on the plays that, you know, you're seeing, that you can see as kind of like a milking stocks. You know, you're milking these stocks to make more money so that you can put and accelerate your position in AMC and GME. Without all this could work without you having to tap into GME and AMC shares, or it also works without you having to, you know, watch all these plays and miss out on them. So I just kind of like, you know, giving you a solution to get the best of both worlds without having to affect either. DOJ, hold on. Can't wait to hear the story. Oh my God, Tiny, I can't wait to share it. And guys, I just gotta let you know that in about 1 minute or 2 minutes, I have to get off. I think my camera is telling me that you got 15% left. So if it turns off by any means on its own, then don't think I was rude and just shutting off on you or bailing out on you. DOJ charged 2 people in NFT rug pull scheme. First in history. I guess the situation isn't on the forefront of their minds. Useless they are. Yes, they similar to like to the GG, the Gary Gensler. When crime is happening, he comes out and talks about global warming and stuff like that that has literally nothing to do with what his job is. And I understand being enthusiasts share that. It's a common problem for everybody in the world. Everybody should be on it. But you're a commissioner of the SEC, so please do that part of your job. And then on your extra time, you can go ahead and tweet talking about the other crap and talk about how the sun is dying star and all that stuff. Got my training from crypto market. 10 to 15% drop is nothing. Yes, Tiny, I know for a fact this is the same thing for me. If you done crypto trading, then none of this stuff would phase you. The only thing that will phase you is that the crypto is actually not like, even though crypto, they're doing the same thing with it, especially Doge and Shiba, they're doing the same thing with it. But there's less gimmicks that they can play in the crypto sector than in here. The reason why is because in the crypto world, it comes down to one thing: whoever is throwing in more money. So if they want to drop it, they could. If they have huge positions in these cryptos, all they gotta do is sell so much at the same time. They will put enough selling pressure to drop the price to the price that they want it to. But if they want to raise a crypto, all they gotta do is put in, whoever has more money in wins in that game. And that's why I like crypto even more, especially when the chain technology even becomes more accepted by the stock market, because that's what it needs to be. And no more market makers. The market maker, needs to be the SEC. I know they don't want to be, because they know that in order for stocks to continue to be a Ponzi scheme, the government can't be held liable at some point for being the orchestrating party for it. So by having a market maker that's also an investor and a company that invests in the market, which is so colluded and too stupid, that way, in case the worst case scenario happens and they ever get implicated with or get caught with cheating and doing a lot of manipulation, then it's not on the government, it's on the market maker, and then they can deal with them, whether arrest them, fine them, whatever they want to do. But could you imagine if it was the SEC that's the market maker, and then the SEC gets caught with insider this and insider that and manipulation with this and that? This is why they don't want to be that. They don't want to take that job. And naturally, it should be them who are, or who is the market maker. Should not be someone who also basically is insider trading and conflict of interest, because they have positions in the market and yet they're the market maker. It makes zero sense, right? Makes no sense to me. I don't know if it makes any sense to you. Many great battles were won in Shahr al-Karim, Badr and Uhud. Okay, what Radwan just said, he's basically referencing to the great month of Ramadan, the holy Ramadan for Muslims. And basically, there was many great events that happened in the past where great triumph and win of global proportions happened to change the history and course of history itself. All these things happened in this holy month. So yeah, if that's the case, may the holy month bring all kind of things. I'm pretty sure if the holy month brings the squeeze, we'll probably have a lot of investors in the religion of Islam. Everybody will be fasting in Ramadan if it brings the squeeze, right? Okay. I think that is a great idea to bring up other plays. I need to make some cash. You got it, brother. Again, I'm only going to bring out things that I see potential in. Of course, no one is 100%. Things could lose. You could lose. That's why you have to have a strategy before you jump into these things. That's why I've also said before that I have a 20% rule. So if my position dumps more than 20%, that means, of course, I can't get out of it right away, because I don't want to risk losing the entire position. That's one. Two, even lose half the position or more. Three, that's also an indication to me that, hey, you did a bad job at getting in at the wrong value. So get out now, be gone, and be okay with losing 20%. But have the opportunity to jump back into possibly this play at a better price point, the real price point you should have jumped in at, and then ride it back up to earn your 20% and perhaps plus more, you know? That's why I have that anchor in my arsenal. You know, I don't sit there and wait for it. But it might go back up, and well, I'd rather be safe than sorry at all times. And this is something that you do for an entire strategy, you know, to have for the future. Because if you're just gonna be shaky all the time, then eventually you're gonna come out basically broke in the stock market because you don't have any bases. You know, he or she who have no values basically can, you know, they say that you can fall, the floor is the bottom, so you can hit the floor bottom because you don't have any particular anchors that hold you down to yourself and to your tools. Okay. Info source is from Unusual Whales. That's a good source sometimes for, you know, for options or even to get some plays. But the problem is sometimes that reports after the major fish or the whales have taken their positions. So they spot up in that website, or that person, they spot up unusual whale movements. But we all know at that point, you're kind of going in after the big fish is going in. So for me, I get worried and I get scared when I see that, because I always want to be one of the big people that coming in to sit at the floor, not chasing it after they took their position. Because after they take their position, at that point, at any given time, the rug can be pulled because all these guys have already taken their positions. They want their 5%, 2%, you know, 10%, whatever, and then get out because again, they're coming in with big amounts, big amounts. So if they put in, you know, one or two or three or $4 million on a play, you know, if it goes up 5, 10%, there you go. Why would they need to hold to 100x or whatever? So I always want to be in a play before these big fish are all in and ready, you know, basically to pull the rug and cash out. But they're still a good source to see, like at least stay informed on what's happening or what's going on. And you still could use them, even if those fish are in play, there is still a way to profit out of a play, even if it went up or crazy, because there's many ways to basically skin a cat. If it already flew up, then you could be the one shorting it down or placing some puts on it. If it didn't fly yet, you could jump in and earn. If it's in the process of moving up, you could even, who knows, take some chance on, you know, buying some options on it while it's having that run up and then get in and out quick. Like there's so many ways that you can, you know, capitalize on these things. So yes, it's Unusual Whales is still a very great source to see things, and much better than many else that are out there. 2013 was the devastating tornado hit. That devastating tornado hit. Yeah, I'm sure a market crash will be devastating as well, but on a different level. Oh yeah, the market crash, especially this one that we're looking at, is gonna make natural disasters look like something that is cute. You'll see, because the lack of resources for everything at that point is gonna drive the people, the populations of every region, theft and killing and anger, crime. So many of these things will fly up because when people are like deprived of a dream or a simple just life as they want, and they see so much debt and so many things on their backs, on their chest, they come. Many of them out there sort of come to that point, to that reality. They just don't want to live that, and it becomes more of a what's the point of this life? So I hope it doesn't, you know, get extremely bad, but obviously a crash is a crash, and if it happens, you're gonna start seeing all these things. And when you do have more, you can take that and you can go somewhere where you don't have to be bothered by many angry people at that time, which I'm pretty sure will be many angry people at that time. You want to be out of the way. I think this time the rich will be eaten. I don't see it that way, Pete. And here's again why. Because I believe that the rich always take care of themselves and they throw everybody else in the way. Don't matter. Even if it's their own most beloved and trustworthy employees, they will sacrifice them in a heartbeat in order to keep and to hold on to their wealth. It's an unfortunate reality. So, like I said, even if Citadel gets caught from this DOJ thing, I triple guarantee you that Kinney would be the only one that's out of harm's way, while everyone else, whether the corporation, the company, the employees, everyone else would get screwed over, and that they're the ones who are really going to get screwed. Kinney will move on with his life. He's already been transitioned into the crypto sector anyways. That's what I mean by that. The rich will already cover their bases. They have enough money to take care of themselves. They've already all been buying so many nuclear bomb shelters, or paying into secret projects, flying spaceships in case the Earth goes bye-bye, then they can, survive on a shuttle somewhere. Start playing, be the 100 show themselves. I think it's going to be in June. Very possible. Frankie, what's up, brother? Assalamu alaikum. Hopefully you're ready for Ramadan. Welcome to the chat, brother. We need to, some people were suggesting we should do a live, together, you and I was very excited for that. So if you would like to do a live, I can't wait. It's whenever you want, at your own convenience, brother. Do you think Bitcoin will get more run like to 100,000? Eventually, yes. I think it's way more also. It'll pave way, but before it gets to that, again, my personal opinion, before it gets to that, it will have to go through a very, very, very crazy dip, crash before it goes on and carries on with its movement to get to its trajectory. Because again, it's going to be most likely outweighed by gold, so backed by gold. So therefore, I can see it go sky is the limit with Bitcoin and Constitution, like the lawmakers and all that. When they make regulations and rules, how are they going to regulate crypto? If they're going to screw it over, then you'll see what you have to do with the smaller coins. But these, especially Bitcoin and Ethereum, no worries whatsoever about that. All right, guys, my screen popped off. Again, guys, thank you so much for being a part of this live. Hopefully you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend. Again, don't be down for what happened. I think it was great, more great that happened than you could see or what meets the eye. I think we did a great job still. No one is panicking or even going out there saying, I'm selling and all this stuff. So nothing new here. We're still higher than the week before that. So we're moving up, which is a good thing. And later on, maybe today or maybe tomorrow, again, it's up to you guys. Put it in the comment section. I can probably make a video about what happened with the chart and what level we closed at, so that we could see at least on a technical analysis reference, even though we don't believe too much into it according to AMC and GME plays, but at least what that side is telling you. Again, you got to look at every angle of everything, and then it helps make up majority of the image. Now, with all that being said, again, thank you guys for coming in. Much love and enjoy the rest of your weekend. AB Investments.